Never eat alone. The secret behind success that rich people never talk about. Introduction. If I ask you, what determines a person's success? Is it IQ, degrees, money, or hard work? I used to believe that just being good enough and working hard enough would bring success. But then one day, I read a quote that made me think for a long time. No one succeeds alone. At first, I didn't believe it. I always thought that self-reliance was something to be proud of, until I looked back at the world's most successful people. Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, Elon Musk. They differ in personality, field, and background, but they all have one thing in common. They built special relationships. It's not because they need to take advantage of others, but because they understand a truth. People are the most valuable asset you will ever possess. That's also the life-changing message of Keith Ferrazzi in his book, Never Eat Alone. And after reading it, I realized maybe we're not poor because we lack money, but because we lack the right relationships. Chapter 1. The Golf Ball Server Boy. Keith Ferrazzi wasn't born into a wealthy family. His father was a worker. His mother worked long hours every day. The family had no status, no powerful connections. But from a young age, Keith learned one thing. His parents always treated everyone with sincerity. Customers weren't just customers. They were friends. They were neighbors. They were people who needed help. At the time, Keith didn't understand. But years later, he realized. That was his first lesson in building a network of relationships. Chapter 2. Secrets Schools Don't Teach. When he was young, Keith thought all he needed was to study hard, get a good degree, get a good job. Everything would be fine. But when he entered the business world, he discovered a shocking truth. Two people with equal abilities, the one with more connections, always has more opportunities. Not because they cheated, but because opportunities always pass people by. A new job, a partner, an investor, a mentor, or a life-changing idea. Almost all of them begin with a meeting. Chapter 3. Why Never Eat Alone. The book's title sounds strange, but the more I read, the more I understood. A meal isn't just for eating. It's where conversations begin. Ideas are shared. Opportunities are opened. Keith has a very simple principle. If you have to have lunch, invite someone to join. A colleague, an old friend, a client, a friend you want to learn from. You don't lose much extra time, but you could gain a relationship that lasts a lifetime. That's why so many big deals in the world don't start in the boardroom, but at the dinner table. Chapter 4. Don't build relationships when you need help. This lesson completely changed my thinking. Most people only remember others when they need a favor, need a job, need to borrow money. A contract needs to be signed. Keith believes that's a mistake. Relationships are like a bank account. If you only withdraw and never deposit, one day the account will be empty. Help others first. Share knowledge. Introduce opportunities. Connect people with each other. Don't expect immediate return. Then when you need it, good things will come back. Chapter 5. Giving is the fastest way to receive. One thing that surprised me was the most successful people Keith met, we were the ones who gave the most. They were willing to introduce you to others, willing to share their experiences, willing to open doors to new people. They understood that when others succeed, their network also grows stronger. Success isn't a fixed-size pie. You don't need to take someone else's share. You can work together to make a bigger cake. Chapter 6. Technology cannot replace sincerity. Today, we have thousands of friends on social media, but very few people are willing to call when we're in trouble. Keith reminds us that a like, an emoji, cannot replace a real meeting, a sincere greeting, or a conversation lasting a few minutes. People always remember feelings, not the number of followers. Chapter 7. The Rich Don't Collect Business Cards. The last thing I learned from the book is, successful people don't try to know a lot of people. They build a few truly deep relationships. They remember birthdays. They remember important milestones. They know what the other person is pursuing. They genuinely care. That's not a communication technique. That's a way of life. Conclusion, message. After reading the book, I asked myself a question. If tomorrow I lose all my money, lose my job, lose everything, how many people would still be willing to help me get back on my feet? That's the true measure of wealth. Money can be lost. Businesses can go bankrupt. Reputation can change. But relationships built on sincerity can stay with you for a lifetime. Perhaps that's why Keith Ferrazzi titled the book, Never Eat Alone. Not because he's afraid of loneliness, but because every encounter is an opportunity. An opportunity to listen, to learn, to help, to change someone's life, and sometimes your own life. If today you only remember one thing from this book, remember this. Don't wait until you need to build relationships. Start today. Call an old friend, invite someone for a cup of coffee, send a thank you note, or simply check in with someone you haven't heard from in a long time. You never know. A 30-minute conversation today could open the door to changing the rest of your life. Because ultimately, it's not about what you know. It's about who you walk that journey with. And who knows, your next meal will be the beginning of the most beautiful chapter in your life. Please subscribe to the channel to listen to great books every day. Thank you.